In this module, we'll unpack the foundations of eIDAS 2.0, what a digital identity actually is, what trust services mean in practice, and how the new European digital identity wallet ecosystem fits together. By the end, you'll be able to discuss architectures and obligations with your teams confidently and in context. Think of eIDAS 1.0 as a patchwork of national ID schemes. It mainly helped public sector services recognize each other's electronic IDs, and adoption was uneven. Private sector use was possible, but not really the focus. With eIDAS 2.0, the model changes. It introduces a common rail network for identity across sectors, built around the European Digital Identity Wallet. Instead of integrating with dozens of national systems, organizations can rely on a standardized wallet ecosystem that works cross-border for citizens, businesses, and services. Under eIDAS 2.0, digital identity means much more than a username and password. It's the full set of data that uniquely represents a person or organization online: name, date of birth, roles, credentials, accounts, even biometrics. Organizations depend on this data to decide what someone is allowed to do, to meet legal obligations, and to prove what happened later. In that sense, digital identity becomes the backbone for rights, obligations, and accountability in digital interactions. A lot of confusion around eIDAS 2.0 comes from mixing up identification and authentication. Identification is the onboarding step, establishing who a person is, usually once, using strong evidence such as government ID and checks against authoritative sources. Authentication comes later, often many times a day. It answers a different question. Is this still the same person we identified earlier right now for this transaction? eIDAS 2.0 assurance standards sit across both steps, defining how strong each one must be for different levels of risk. The European Digital Identity Wallet is designed as the citizen's control center for digital identity. Instead of juggling multiple usernames, apps, and documents, users manage everything in one trusted wallet. They decide which data to share, with whom, and for how long. The wallet must work both online and offline, be recognized across all EU member states, and meet strict eIDAS 2.0 assurance requirements. For relying parties, it becomes a high-trust, standardized way to interact with customers. To understand the wallet, it helps to think in two layers. Layer 1 is your core person identification data. Legally verified facts like your name, date of birth, and a unique identifier. This anchors the wallet to you in a way that's recognized across the EU. Layer 2 builds on top with electronic attestations of attributes, things like your driving license, bank account number, or university diploma. Combined, these layers create a legally binding digital self that relying parties can trust when making real business and compliance decisions. Selective disclosure is one of the most important privacy by design concepts behind the EUDI wallet. Instead of sharing a full identity record, the wallet can prove a single fact about the user. Take age verification. The merchant doesn't need your name, address, or exact date of birth, only that you are over 18. Using techniques like zero-knowledge proofs, the wallet can cryptographically confirm that condition, so the relying party gets a trustworthy yes or no, while the underlying personal data remains hidden. Trust services are the legal backbone of eIDAS. They provide the mechanisms that give your digital processes integrity, authenticity, and legal validity. Within this family, qualified services are the gold standard. When a signature or seal is qualified, the law presumes it's valid and correctly linked to the signer, which reverses the burden of proof. A qualified electronic signature is treated like a handwritten signature in court across the EU. Under eIDAS 1.0, trust services focused mainly on signatures, seals, and timestamps. eIDAS 2.0 significantly widens that scope. It formally recognizes services like electronic archiving, where documents must remain trustworthy for many years, and electronic ledgers, which can include certain blockchain-style systems. It also adds remote management of secure signature devices and services that assess qualified certificates. For relying parties, this means many more building blocks to design trusted digital journeys. Qualified electronic attestations of attributes are about creating instant trust in specific facts about a person or organization. Imagine a university issuing a qualified diploma into a wallet. The wallet holder isn't self-claiming anything. The attribute is signed by a certified issuer. When the user presents it, The relying party doesn't need to re-verify the degree. It only needs to check that the issuer is on an official trust list and that the attestation is valid. This shifts effort away from repetitive checks and toward relying on a regulated ecosystem. Electronic ledgers are essentially tamper-evident records of events, stored in a way that many parties can verify. You can think of them as shared logbooks that no one can quietly rewrite. For trust frameworks like eIDAS 2.0, this matters because we must prove four things: that data is unique, authentic, correctly timestamped, and recorded in the right order. Initiatives like the European Blockchain Services Infrastructure explore how to provide this at EU scale. In eIDAS 2.0, everything operates within a common trust framework. Issuers create and vouch for attributes or credentials. Wallet providers give users a secure way to hold and present those credentials. Trust service providers add legally reliable services, such as qualified signatures, seals, or timestamps. Your organization enters as the relying party. You don't issue or store the user's core identity. You consume trusted data to make decisions. Your risk, obligations, and business opportunities all flow from how you rely on these other actors and verify that they're trustworthy. eIDAS 2.0 depends on a very deliberate trust chain. At the top, the EU Commission maintains official trusted lists. Member states build on this through their national supervisory bodies, which license and oversee providers. Conformity assessment bodies then test whether a provider actually meets the detailed standards. Only after passing that process do organizations become qualified trust service providers. As a relying party, you don't have to recheck the cryptography. You lean on this chain, plus independent audits and meaningful liability caps, to trust signatures, certificates, and identities with confidence. From a relying party perspective, eIDAS 2.0 turns onboarding from a document processing problem into a trusted data exchange. Traditionally, you collect lots of data, ask for photos, then wait for manual review before activating the account. That's slow, expensive, and error-prone, and you carry most of the liability for getting it wrong. With wallets, the user simply shares verified attributes, confirms with biometrics, and you receive a high-assurance, machine-verifiable response in seconds. The result is less friction, faster activation, lower review costs, clearer liability, and stronger fraud defenses. Overall, eIDAS 2.0 turns identity into a user-controlled asset. The wallet becomes your front door, so every design choice has to respect user control and consent. Trust is now a core product feature, not just a back-office function, and qualified services give you legal certainty at scale. When you align with this framework, compliance becomes an enabler. You unlock faster onboarding, cross-border growth, and a more resilient digital business.